Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust 2 video. So let's talk about the current, this particular week. There's plenty of things for Brown Dust 2 happening, alright? And I got busy with a couple of other things as well this week, so videos may be a little bit delayed or late sometimes, right? But I'll try my best to keep up with it. So here's the thing about Brown Dust 2. This particular week we're gonna have 2 new featured characters, actually once per week, right? As you can see, there's the patch notes already. Now, for those of you who are unaware, the basically featured character is going to be Nebris. Now, Nebris is going to be very strong. If you guys are not aware, she's basically like one of the strongest physical win DPS in the game, right? Outside of Grey, which is the only 2 character for now. Maybe in the future we'll get more, but for now, Nebris is definitely a very strong character. Now you can see Fireworks Memories. This is going to be a rerun of what happened previously in the last winter. Alright, in the last Christmas. So this is going to be something to consider. You are going to be able to obtain a rule for free again. So if you guys miss the Stray Cat rule, make sure you guys are playing through this event. You will be able to obtain +5 as per usual, right? Now, the boss is going to be a water type, as you can see. Plenty of cool things, but the new 2 featured character is going to be Wind Dancer Venaka, new higher Nebris. Alright, Diana and Stray Cat Rule is going to be the old one. We're also going to have a guild rate improvements and a couple of combat record display feature that will be shown later on, and plenty of other things as well. So let's talk about new higher Nebris right here. Alright, how good is she? How bad is she? Is she going to be better than the previous other characters? So far, Luventia and Michaela, both are very strong, right? They are both like top tier DPS. Now, where does Nebris lie? So if you are looking, like I mentioned, for a physical, in this case AoE, right? Look at this. Pretty big range, 3x2 tile. So we're gonna watch first the PV. If you guys are interested to get just 1 copy, these are going to be the character that you want to consider looking at. Okay. So that is going to be the L to D right there. Very intense L to D. She's very good at handling the knife for sure. Alongside with Venaka, one of the most flexible character in the game. Okay, so again, Venaka is going to be very unique. I would say like she is the first of her kind, but we're going to jump into her kit shortly. Now these 2 are going to be released in this particular order, right? So Diana, this particular version is going to be a rerun. Now if you guys don't have this particular copy yet, I would highly recommend get at least 1 because she provides you with energy gun. Definitely very strong. Now, if you guys just want the beautiful L to D on your screen, just get 1 copy, right? But other than that, this one is a decent costume. So these are the 3 featured one, as per usual. Very cool, very strong. Now, alongside with that, like I mentioned, the new update is going to feature, you can see, rerun event, right? Nightmare Winter is something that we experienced last week. It's a pretty decent story if you guys want to read and experience. I believe in that story they basically expose Morpia for the first time. I'm trying to remember, right? The boss or the enemy, the villain, right? That was when we were introduced to that character. So very cool. Now looking at her, you can see right here what she's capable of. AoE damage. If you're looking for an AoE win damage dealer, she's going to be very cool. The only downside that I think semi-downside would be she hits very front. I'll prefer to be skipped, but you know what? It's fine, right? We have Zenith to help with that if we need skip. But attack the enemy 3 times. Each attack deals physical damage based on 40% of your attack. Very cool. So 40 times 3 is about 120%. Also, the damage increase by 15% of your attack for each buff you have. So she is going to be very good if you have, for example, if an attack buffer and then you got Rafitia. Because Rafitia gives crit damage buff. And property damage, you know, so those are going to be the buff, and then you can buff your attack percent and then your crit rate percent. So she is going to be very strong with Arenes plus a few others, right? The more buffs you give her, the more attack buff she gets. So ideally, +1 is going to be a good stopping point, but if you want to go all the way, you can see her multiplier gets really high later on as well, and it goes up to 70%, alright? 70 times 3, 210%. I would say it's decent, alright, the damage is decent, but I still think the previous 2 costume, or the previous one is going to be the better one. That's the default one. Her default one is probably the strongest one. It's going to do the most DPS. And you can see, alright, in her skill potential, it does help reduce the cooldown a little bit. but her biggest issue is not going to be her cost. 3 SP is pretty good. The biggest issue is going to be her cooldown, right? 5 turns. After everything, max potential liberation, that's going to be it. For each buff you have, additional damage increased by 5%. Now again, the more buffs she has, the more she's going to be able to do. So if you are able to pair her with the other 2 costumes, which also gives her more buffs, I think that's going to be insane. Now, and also it depends on the Fiend Hunter or Fiend Boss that she's fighting against, because some Fiend Hunter, Fiend Boss are going to give you even more buff, right? So that is going to be something that I think she can stack up to like insane numbers if used correctly in the right circumstances. Now, I do manage to obtain her exclusive gear. Pretty decent, alright, but I wouldn't recommend going all in per se, because Venaka is coming as well. Now you can see, December 4th, you got Venaka, and both are going to happen at the same time, I believe, right? This is going to be a very tight one, right? You gotta choose between Nebris, which is a DPS, or Venaka in this case. Now, Nebris already got 2 costumes. Venaka only has 1 costume, previously the DJ Venaka. This is going to be the default one, the Dancer Venaka. Now, what is this costume, or what is she all about? You can see she hits very front, but she has a very unique tile range. This is like a 3x3, but in this particular area, right? Again, just want to like clarify and just want to confirm and show you guys how amazing this tile is. This is, I think, the first in Brown Dust 2 that has this kind of tile range. You can see she hits this enemy, which is the most front, and she hits 3 tiles back. Alright, now this 4th enemy 4 tile back didn't get hit, but still pretty interesting range right there, right? Increase the enemy's damage taken by wind property attacks by 75% for 4 turns. Alright, and then deal magic damage to the enemy based on 200% of the attack. Now, sadly, she doesn't do multi-hit, so she doesn't really stack chain, but the fact that she's able to, you know, increase the wind property that the enemy receive is going to be very, very strong. Now, amplification, specifically for wind type, it would be nice if it's like physical or magic amplification, but in this case it's a property which is wind, so that means she's going to pair really strong with Dalvi, she's going to pair really strong with Nebris and other characters as well, any wind DPS, right? 3 SP is not too bad, alright, so it's going to go there. 250%, 125% amplification is the max, and the damage increase can go up to 175%, I believe, right? Oh wait, no, 150%. These 2 are the damage. So her numbers are quite good actually. Now, I know this is going to sound crazy. Whether or not you want to go for Venaka, or whether or not you want to go for Nebris, it's going to lie down to 2 different factors. Number 1, are you looking for a physical DPS, or are you looking for a magic DPS? Alright, so if you prefer physical team, Nebris is by far going to be better, right? But if you prefer a magic team, then I would say Venaka. Now, I'm a magic team user, true and true. I do have Helena. I'm a big fan of magic teams right now. I think physical team, I wouldn't say they are lackluster. We do have like Sacred Justia to carry, and a bunch of other cool ones like Luventia is also physical team, and I love her, right? She's one of the top damage dealer right now. But, you know, I feel like as someone that dedicates myself to running magic team, and I also think that this particular tile range would benefit a lot in the Tower of Salvation. Tower of Salvation is something that as an endgame player, that's something that I want to be able to reach to stage 10 consistently. And I look at this tile range, I'm like, wow, this opens up a lot of potential for me to be able to use. And also one thing is this costume doesn't seem to rely on the other costume as much, the DJ Venaka costume. So having both of them is going to be pretty good. But I like that there's no reliance on the other one compared to the damage. It also does damage, right? If this one only does the amplification for wind property, then I would say this costume sucks. But she also does damage on her own, right? 350% is kind of decent actually. It goes up to 400%, which is quite high of a multiplier. So if you have Venaka, I definitely highly recommend. This is going to be a pretty good one. I would consider getting this maybe to +5 for now, alright? But unless you're looking for limiteds later on, which is again Bunny Eclipse, Bunny Celia, that's going to come later. So be prepared for that, right? So something to consider. Alongside with that, alright, all of this aside, again, Stray Cat Rue will be available, and it's going to mention right here. Her costume can be obtained through the event, and that's going to be the event, right? You cannot obtain her later on. She's a limited costume, and will not be added to the Powder of Hope shop or the selective banner after the event ends. Make sure you guys are aware of that. So you can see Queen Signatures Michaela, Pure White Blessing Raphithia, all of these will be added to the Powder of Hope. And then we're gonna get, what else? Magic Bow Elena, and I believe DJ Venaka and Snow White Ventana. Okay, those will be added to the Powder of Hope. Very, very cool. Alright, so you can try to obtain that. And for Mirror Wars, we get Gentlemaid Anastasia. Alright, I'll make a separate video on who is going to be the best one, but that's going to be the brief overview of what's happening this week in this particular patch notes. If you can't get Venaka or you can't get Nebris, that's fine. Alright, these two are standard banner characters. You should prioritize on Bunny Eclipse and Bunny Celia during their rerun. Alright, because I think those are the limited ones and you want to pay attention to that. Alright, pay attention to the limited characters because they only come once a year. With that being said, that's gonna be it for this particular video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe, give this video a like. Have a nice day. Goodbye.